Hello friends, this is Navdeep Singh from Hitbullseye.com. In our today's lecture, we'll be discussing further about art and culture, and in that we'll be discussing about various dance forms in the country, some things about the Indian theatre, and also how our scientific development in the country had started in the ancient times. So regarding that, the topics of discussion for today would be firstly origin and type of dance, Indian theatre and ancient Indian sciences, as we have already discussed. So starting with the origin of dance form itself. Firstly, the Indian classical dance is derived from a shastra called the Natya Shastra. This was written by Bharat Muni. It is said that there were actually 5 Vedas written by Brahma. Apart from the 4 Vedas that we discussed, namely the Rig Veda, the Yajur, Sam and the Atharva, there was a 5th Veda by the name of Natya Veda. Now, dance has been given huge amount of importance from these Vedas because it is considered that it is a complete art. Why is it so? It is because of the reason that it encompasses various other art forms such as music, drama and other things. So, we also have to know of the fact that there are 2 basic elements in each and every dance form, whether it be the classical dance, whether it be the folk dance or any other dance. There are 2 basic elements, namely the Tandav and the Lasya. Now, Tandav dance or Tandav element of dance denotes the movement or rhythms in a dance. These are basically the masculine features related in the dance. Second feature, that of Lasya, denotes grace and expression in a dance, and these are basically the feminine features or executed by the female in a dance. It is also considered that dance is made up of 2 things, the Nrita and the Natya. The Nrita is consisted of dance movements, whereas Natya is consisted of the expressions. A combination of these 2 is called the Nritya, or Nritya meaning the same as we generally perceive it to be that of dance, consisting of Nrita and Natya. Now let us discuss the various dance forms. Firstly, we'll discuss the classical dance forms. That is, we have various classical dances in the country which are recognized by the Sangeet Natak Academy, and there are also various folk dances in the country. So starting with the classical dances as they are recognized by the Sangeet Natak Academy. First of all is the Bharatnatyam. Now we'll be discussing with each and every classical dance the state associated with it, the origins of that dance and also certain important features of that dance. So in our case, or in the case of Bharatnatyam, the state associated is Tamil Nadu. It is a highly stylized solo dance done predominantly by females, but nowadays it is also being done by the males as well. And it has been derived, or its origins are from the Devdasi system in the temples in South India that was prevalent in the ancient times. Now in this dance form, both elements of Lasya and Tandav are present. And always, or during the dance, for most of the time, there are 3 fingers that are jointed to symbolize the symbol of Om. This is very important. The knees in the Bharatnatyam dance are always bent, or are bent for majority of the time. And the most famous exponent of Bharatnatyam is Rukmini Arundel. This is about Bharatnatyam. The next dance form in classical dance is Kuchipudi. Now Kuchipudi belongs to Andhra Pradesh. In this, each and every character or the principal character performing the dance introduces himself by a short song called the Daru. The dancer combines in himself the role of the dancer also and the singer also. Now since this is there in the northern parts of the country, and in our previous video lectures we have also discussed that in the southern part of the country, the most important or prevalent music form was that of Carnatic music. So Kuchipudi dance is also associated with Carnatic music, and the instruments associated with such a music or such a dance are the Mridangam and the violin. The next classical dance form is the Odissi. Obviously, as the name suggests, it is associated with the state of Odisha, and we also know that anything that has to do with the art and culture of Odisha has to do with the personification of Lord Jagannath. It is, some say that, a form or a type of Bharatanatyam itself. So most of the features of Bharatanatyam can also be seen in Odissi dance. The most or the famous exponent of Odissi dance is Sonal Mansingh. The next classical dance is Kathakali. Now this belongs to the state of Kerala. The Kathakali dance denotes or signifies the conflict between the good or God on one side and evil or bad on the other side. In this dance, there is high amount of makeup done by the dancer in the form of colors, the green color denoting the good and the red color denoting the bad. There is also a vast headgear that is associated with the Kathakali dance. In this dance, again, as we were discussing, movement of eyes and eyebrows is worth noticing, and it is through the movement of eyes and eyebrows that the dancer expresses his feelings to another dancer, and it is mostly performed in open air stages in the evening time of the day. The next classical dance is Kathak. Now Kathak, if we split the word Kathak itself, it has to do with Katha. Now Kathak is about storytelling or telling a Katha. This is a classical dance of the state of Uttar Pradesh, and it is again based upon Hindustani music, because since it is in the northern parts of the country, as we've done in the Indian art and culture music video lecture, that in the northern part of the country the Hindustani music is more prevalent. And in the Kathak dance, lot of improvisation can be done. It also focuses on intricate footwork, and since we've already discussed that it is about a Katha, the most famous theme of these dances is that of the Radha Krishna Kathas or Radha Krishna stories. This was about the major classical dances that I wanted to discuss. Apart from these, we also have certain other classical dances such as Satriya of Assam and Manipuri of Manipur. But these are, again, we can say, are forms of the classical dances that we have already discussed. Now we come to the folk dances. As the name suggests, folk dances are associated with the dances of the people themselves. These are not trained professionals who would perform Bharatanatyam or Kathakali or Kuchipudi. These are the general people who perform the dances. Now each and every folk dance has to do with the particular part of the country. So what we have to remember in this is, we have to remember the name of the folk dance itself plus the area or the state associated with that folk dance, because the question would generally come in the form that this folk dance belongs to which of the state, or this state has which folk dance. So this is what we have to keep in mind. Of the folk dances, the first is Rauf. Now this belongs to Kashmir Valley and it is performed on special occasions. Second is Bhangra. As we all know, it is the folk dance of Punjab and it is majorly performed during the harvest season, the season or the day called as Baisakhi Day. The third is the Ras Leela, again belonging to the northern parts of the country, the state of Uttar Pradesh. This is mainly performed in festivals which have religious significance and especially on the Janmashtami. Next is Garbha, and since this is a very popular dance form, it is, we all know, a folk dance in the state of Gujarat, and this is performed around the festival or during the festivals of Navratri. The next folk dance, moving on to the eastern parts of the country, is Bihu. Bihu is a folk dance of majorly Assam, but we also have Bihu being performed in parts of West Bengal and southern Arunachal as well. Next is Lavani. Now Lavani is the folk dance of the state of Maharashtra, and it is performed in a group who come along in a circle around the beats of a drum. The next folk dance is Ghumura. Now this belongs to the state of Odisha. As we all know, Odisha is majorly a tribal state, so Ghumura is also a dance which is being performed by tribals themselves in tribal outfits. It is also again performed in groups. The next dance form is the Pulikali. Now this belongs to the state of Kerala. We have to remember that this is a folk dance, not the classical dance that we had earlier done. The folk dance of Kerala is Pulikali, and it is also called the tiger dance because what the people do while performing these dances, they paint the tiger pictures on their bodies themselves, and this is performed during the Onam festival. This was about the folk dances performed in the country and also the dances, the classical as well as the folk dances that I wanted to discuss. Our next topic of discussion is about the Indian theatre. Now theatre is not a new phenomena in the country. It is again a very old art form prevalent in the country, and the evidences of which are even found in ancient caves and seals. The reference to theatre has also been made in various Vedas and Upavedas. The reference to Indian theatre has also been made in various Vedas and Upanishads. Now again, the pattern of discussing about Indian theatre would be the same as we had discussed during the folk dances, that what we have to keep in mind or remember while learning about Indian theatre is the name of the theatre art associated with the name of a particular state or area that it belongs to. So we would segregate the area into northern India, eastern and the other parts of the country, and learn about the names of various theatre forms in the states prevalent in that area. So first, discussing about the theatre forms of North India. In the state of Jammu and Kashmir, we have the Bhand Pathar. Now this is an satirical kind of a theatre which discusses about various issues in the state. Next is Swang in Haryana. This is about the mimicry being done by people. In the state of Uttar Pradesh, they perform the Nautanki. Coming to other parts of the country, the eastern India, in Assam we have a theatre form called Bhavna. In West Bengal, we have the theatre form called Jatra. Now this Indian theatre form of Jatra in the state of West Bengal is again related to the stories of Radha and Krishna, or basically devotional stories. In the state of Odisha, we have the Prahlad Natak. Coming to the areas of southern and western India, firstly and more importantly, we have a theatre form which has been recognized by UNESCO as the cultural heritage of the country called Mudiyettu, which is a theatre form in the state of Kerala. So this is especially more important because this has been recognized by UNESCO. In the state of Maharashtra, we have the Tamasha. And lastly, in the state of Goa, we have the Dashavatar. And Dashavatar is practiced not only in Goa but throughout the Konkan coast itself. So this is about the Indian theatre. Our next topic of discussion is about the ancient Indian sciences, or how Indian textbook reflected the Indian scientific development in the ancient times itself. Firstly, we'll discuss about the astronomical richness in the country in the ancient times itself. Aryabhatta wrote a book called Aryabhattam, in which various astronomical definitions and methods of defining movement of various planets was made. And afterwards, these astronomical studies were furthered by various emperors or rulers of areas, most important of them being Sawai Jai Singh of Jaipur, who set up 5 observatories, and hence a result of which the astronomical studies in the country became much more healthier. Next is the medicine science in the country. Now all our ancient texts reveal that the body is dependent upon the balance of 4 fluids in the body. The 4 fluids being wind, gall, mucus and blood. The most important books of the ancient times that are worth mentioning is the Charak Samhita and the Shushruta Samhita. After medicine we come to chemistry. Now, chemistry as a science was also quite developed in the ancient periods in the country. We started making use of paper in the medieval times as well, and during the Mughal period, a book named Sukranti was also published, which dealt with the art or science of making guns and gunpowder. Now, Nagarjuna is a person. He wrote a book, Rasanrat Nakar, in which he discussed the methods of extraction of various metals like tin, gold and silver and others. There was also a system of weights and measures developed in the country, which obviously helped us develop trade and commerce within the country as well as with other parts of the world. When we have to discuss about weights and measures, it was a ever evolving system, but the lowest measure of the weight was Raktika at the times, and the highest or largest was the Prastha in the time. So through these studies, the studies of astronomy, study of medicine, chemistry, and especially the weights and measures, we come to know that the ancient Indian society was highly developed and had a scientific sense of mind. This is all about ancient Indian sciences that I wanted to discuss. So for today, what we have discussed is the dance forms, the classical and the folk dance. After that, we discussed the Indian theatre, relating theatre art of each and every state with the name of the theatre art itself, and lastly, the ancient scientific development in the country. So thank you friends, that is all I wanted to discuss for today.